This is Everyday Nerd, and I'm Daniel.
I'm Andrew.
And on this show, we're going to talk about everything nerd related: anime, video games, movies, and so much more.
I forgot TV shows, but yeah.
But we do have TV shows.
Yeah.
Right now, this is just our first podcast. So if you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe. Or smash the like button like Hulk would.
Show us love.
We need it
Badly.
All right, now Andrew, we've got news for us to go over today.
Yeah. First, the Avengers game. So today you can play the beta if you're on PS4 and you've paid for the game. That's through the 9th. The 14th through the 16th, if you have a PlayStation, you can play it in general. But if you've paid for it on Xbox and PC, that's when you can play it.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, they've just announced that Spider-Man will be on the PS4.
Yeah, Spider-Man is only on the PS4, and it'll be in like January is when he comes out. Because Hawkeye will be the first DLC, and it'll probably be this year. And then Spider-Man will be in January, but you have to have PS4 or 5.
So, great. So, that's another reason to have a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, then the all-open beta, so Xbox and PlayStation, is 21st to 23rd. So basically, right now, starting the 7th, you can play on PlayStation if you paid for it. And then the 14th, if you haven't. And then you gotta wait a week if you have Xbox or PC. So.
Do you think this game's going to be good or bad? I mean, graphics look amazing.
The graphics are good.
How's the gameplay going to be?
The gameplay is going to be unique. Because there's like 7, 8, 9 characters. And each one's going to play different. Captain America and Hulk are probably going to be the most similar. Miss Marvel and Black Widow are going to be similar, but she has like the stretch that's going to be different. Iron Man, Thor, they'll probably be 2 more similar. And then I think the DLCs, while they're like waiting, is they're all going to be kind of unique. But like I think a good topic is going to, like a good thing is going to be who else are they going to put? Because I think they might put Captain Marvel or Black Panther or both.
Well, when I've been seeing some of the gameplay footage that's been leaked on this game, it looks like if you get the God of Thunder, Thor, he looks like a monster. Yeah. He's got all his lightning moves. It looks like you're really going to be able to be a superhero and have their full set of moves.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. In other news, we have Cyberpunk 2077 coming out in November 19th, I think. And that game's the game everybody's been wanting to play. It's been delayed over a year now since it was originally supposed to come out. Now we're thinking, or they're saying that it's been released this time so it can come out with new consoles, so people will buy PlayStation 5 or the new Xbox and buy that game for their first game. I think it's going to be I think it's a good thing because the graphics on these next gens are looking amazing. And this game's graphics already look amazing. Yeah. What's your favorite part? What are you looking most forward to with this game?
2 things. So first, the developer said you're not going to have to buy it twice. So if you have PlayStation 4 or Xbox One right now and you buy it and you don't have your next gen yet, when you get your next gen, you're going to have the game still like playable on your next gen console because they said you don't need to pay twice because that's ridiculous. I agree with that.
That sounds good.
But game-wise, I really like the customization because like all down to like their gender aspects, you can fully customize everything on them. And compared to right now, the game that like gets most credited for its customizations right now, like in skins and stuff, is Fortnite. You can't do really any customization. They've had 2 that you can customize, but you couldn't really. It's like a set thing. I mean, there's just a lot of skins with that, but this one, like, you get to customize whatever you want, however you want, all kinds of features. That's not really. I mean, it's not new, but the level that it is brand new, and it's very exciting in my opinion.
Well, one of the things about the gameplay is the choices that everybody talks about. You're going to have all these choices. And a month ago, they released the 5 hours of footage or gameplay that all the cool kids got to play early and make great videos about. But when you look at the gameplay, they all said whatever you choose, and you can do missions so many different ways, and it actually has weight. And I know a lot of people always say that about video games, and they never have it. I think everybody's just really hoping this game is truly what they've said every game that we've ever played is, and actually have consequences and decisions that you can make and have a unique gaming experience. I want a robot arm with a sword. That's what I'm playing this game for. Keanu Reeves, robot arm with a sword. And
Pretty cool.
what's next in the news?
How do we want to take it? I'll just say this really fast because I don't really want to talk about it much. Fortnite added cars. It's a new big thing. It's all over social media. You can play it. If you play it, cool. If not, cool.
What's the Fortnite cars? What are we talking about? $10, $5 a card, or?
It's a car. So like they've had 4-wheelers and like golf carts. Then they had boats and helicopters right now. They've never had like a car, and now they have cars, and there's like 5 different options. They have low health, but there's like a sports car. There's an 18-wheeler, like a tractor trailer, but there's no trailer. And that's the one that like you hit people. What I think is cool about it is if you hit somebody with a tractor trailer, it does more damage than if you hit them with a sports car, and it has more health, but it doesn't have the speed. So like they kind of made them their own kind of like thing with each car.
Now, do you think that this will be like $10, or do we know what
It's
price?
free.
It's free.
It's out now.
So
it's free.
Absolutely free. So
shocking for that game.
Shocking for that game. I've only played Fortnite a handful of times. I got my butt handed to me handedly by a 10-year-old that loved cussing me out.
Yeah.
And talking about my mom.
And that was me. No, I'm kidding.
So now we also have news on the Batman movie.
Yeah.
It's looking like Michael Keaton's probably going to be in this. I think that's the rumor. It's not
He's
true.
going to be in Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
Well, it's not Flashpoint. It's not technically yet. But it's going to be the Flash movie with Ezra Miller, which is the guy in Justice League.
So, one thing we do have is we just released a few days ago pictures of the new Batmobile.
Yeah.
And it looks like an old school car. It looks like a muscle car. It looks raw. It looks dirty. I like it a lot. It's not the best Batmobile. You can't look at it and say, oh, wow, that's a Batmobile. Just from the pictures we've got, it was dark, obviously. But it looks like it looks cool. Is it a Batman car? I don't know. I'm kind of partial to the Tumbler and the original Batmobile from the Michael Keaton movies.
Based on the back, it kind of looks like a Batmobile, but when you look at the front, it's just like
totally
a modified
different
car to me. It's not really a Batmobile.
It looks like a muscle car, man.
Looks like something you'd see in Fast and the Furious, honestly.
And do we know what year this is going to be?
I don't. We'll see. So it's going to be like an old-time detective movie, so you're basically right. And it's like a noir movie. Then the Batmobile kind of, I guess it's like a 90s car with some modern technology. I guess that's what's on the back, like in that back picture.
Well, like I said, it doesn't look. It looks cool. I like it, but it just doesn't look like a Batman car.
Yeah.
And so, but that's okay. The Batsuit does. We've looked pretty good from what we've seen of the Batsuit.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't really liked it.
It's not as bad as Batfleck's Batsuit, which was like gray.
I mean, they were like
gray.
going for a comic. It's right there, yeah. It's like a comic-looking suit, but like my favorite suit's still Christopher Nolan's.
Bat nipples. No bat nipples.
No, not my. No, who's that?
Oh, I thought we liked
George Clooney.
George Clooney, best Batman ever.
But that movie. I'm excited for the villains of the movie, though.
Well, who's the villain gonna be?
So I have it written down. Matt Reeves, director. Robert Pattinson directed the movie. They don't know if it's DCEU yet. So
basically, if it does good, we'll say, "Hey, it's part of our universe." It's gonna be like the Joker.
Yeah, because this was originally the Batfleck movie, but the villains are the Riddler, the Penguin, Catwoman. So she can be a hero or a villain. It's gonna.
She's great.
Anti-hero, I guess. And then Falcone, which is like the mob boss.
Right.
You probably know who that is. And then, so they're saying there's going to be a lot of other villains, but they're not going to be villains, but it might set up something. So.
Well, as long as they don't put too much stuff in it, I think that's a problem that they want to spend all this money on a movie. We want to throw all of them in there. Don't set up story threads that you're not going to pay off, because it really just pisses off fans when we see stuff in movies.
They'll probably just have
they don't even pay off.
They'll probably like walk through Arkham, and there'll be them in like cages with their names on like a jail cell.
Is this going to be year one Batman, or?
I don't think we know, but based on the set in the past, because like if you look at Robert Pattinson's jaw, he kind of has the same jaw as Ben Affleck, and I think that's why they chose him, is he's got that strong jaw. I hate to like talk about a guy like this, but you know what I mean. So like they could be like, it's year one Batman, and it's like his origin story. Like that's what they did with Wonder Woman. That was a good movie. And from there, look at his jaw. He's kind of got a similar one to Ben Affleck. So they could be like, well, it's a prequel. It does good, so Ben Affleck wants to come back, then put him in. And I mean, if people really like Robert Pattinson, they might be like, yeah, he wants to come back, but we're not letting him.
Well, do we have any other news on today?
Yeah, we got let's see. Mulan is coming to Disney Plus September 4th, but
I heard about this.
if you're paying for Disney Plus $8.99, $7.99 a month, you're gonna have to pay $30 additional dollars. It's not like plus to watch it. We don't know if that's one time or like you get to watch as much as you want to.
You know, I was not super excited about this movie just because the dragon's not going to be in it. But now I am just not even going to go see it or see it at the house because I'm not paying $30 to watch a movie when, you know, I mean, you go to the theater and you can watch it for 10 or 12.
$30 would be like your ticket and your popcorn and your drink and then some
candy. Popcorn. I mean, yeah, Mulan. It's not that I'm not excited about this movie. It's just I don't want to pay $30. I know this movie is a $200 million movie. I say just hold on to the money and wait until March of next year. Push it back. I know everything's being pushed back, which sucks. But charging people $30 to see a movie that you're putting on a streaming service is a little excessive. And I worry that they might continue that trend with other movies. And then it's like streaming services become horrible.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings up the question. Do you think it's going to make $200 million from that? Because I know a lot of people don't want to pay that.
I don't think... I think there's going to be the idiots that go out there and buy it because, oh, man, they want to see it early. But I don't see the average person doing this. Now, if you're a guy that's got kids and y'all are going to have family night, yeah. But if you're the person that binge watches stuff in your bed at night, you're not paying $30 to watch this movie. And I just think, you know... families might buy it. I don't think the normal person is gonna buy this movie.
Yeah.
And what else do we have on the news front there?
I want to talk about this a little bit more.
Okay.
So China is probably because it's trying to be more historically accurate, even though it has a sorcerer. Big debate. We're not going to get into that. $200 million. Its biggest market was always going to be China, and their theaters are not open. So do you think it'll make the money there?
I mean, I think they should just. China is everybody's kowtowing to China right now. I think they will try to get it open in China because they know they can make that Chinese money, and it might make $200 million. It might make the money back in China. I don't think if we release it on Disney Plus with the $30, it'll make its money back here in the U.S. I think if they just wait until next year, push it back. I think the movie could do well because people are excited about seeing it.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to put something on a streaming service, it's got to be free. You don't need to charge for it. And if it does well, the dark side of this is if it does well, then that's going to set up a precedent to, well, hey, let's just do this with all our movies now. And then you're going to not have free stuff on a streaming service that you're already paying for. It's going to be you pay for it, and then when a new movie comes out, you have to pay $30 for it. That's excessive. I hope this is not a trend that continues.
I also feel like if it does good, this is like right here is deciding the fate of the Black Widow movie. If this does good, Black Widow is set for release November 6th right now. So if this does good, Black Widow will be behind it, $30. If not, they'll push it off till next year when theaters are open.
Well, I've heard that it might be in November. Then I've heard it's been indefinite. But none of the articles we looked up earlier today. Huh?
I saw it indefinitely.
That was on Facebook.
We saw indefinitely on social media.
You can't take social media. We looked it up.
We didn't see an
on
article.
The internet looking for it
because we talked about it.
Yeah.
The last bit of news we have today is the Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn logo came out. And it's the red like military text on the yellow, and I hope this movie will be better, but we'll find out.
Well, I'm excited about it. I wasn't excited about it until James Gunn got attached because he's made good movies with the
obvious reasons.
Yeah, obviously. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we can't wait. But you know, the first one was what it was. We were so excited about it. We saw it. Some people liked it. Some people, I mean, it's a movie. It happened. It exists. Let's do better. I think this is going to be like a soft reboot sequel.
Yeah, it's like a reboot but a sequel at the same time. Like a lot of the original cast is coming back, but then
Is Jared
Will
Leto in it?
Smith. Will Smith's not coming back. We know that.
Okay.
Jared Leto said he'd like to come back. Like he's down to come back, but I don't think he's been signed.
Well, I mean, he was freaking people out, leaving the cast dead rats.
Yeah, I'd rather have Margot Robbie on than him, if that's what like our options were.
I mean,
He just isn't. We don't really know.
anyways,
But then yeah, so like I see that movie like a good popcorn flick kind of like it's something you can watch with buddies. You'll enjoy it, but like if you don't think much about it, you don't realize it's an expanded universe. You kind of see it as its own thing. I mean, I know it opens up with like the dead Superman, like because it's right after Batman vs Superman. It's got like the Superman statue, like the little bit of the funeral from Batman vs Superman. So that's like the only thing like really connected it. And Batman's in it chasing
for 5
the
seconds.
Joker. And then they advertised that scene like crazy. So everybody's like, Batman and Suicide Squad? But I mean, that's all we ever saw.
It was a good movie in parts. The trailer was phenomenal. The trailer as Academy Award. I would put an Academy Award with that
The
trailer.
Ballroom Blitz playing.
Oh, the Queen song that played too.
Yeah, there was a few trailers.
I mean,
too.
there's a
They
few
all had good
trailers.
music.
Give them an A+ for trailer design because that was the shit.
You know what movie that's come out really recently that the trailer music just really had me like the music is what had me excited for the movie, and then seeing it was just the biggest letdown. Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
Like-
I knew. How long was it gonna take to get into Star Wars?
Well, no, like I'm just saying this one time because we talked about it. Just like if you like go back and watch it, that music is like it strikes a nerve because it's like the original music, but it's slowed down and it's got like the little choir like really putting emotion in it.
Well, I mean, Star Wars soundtrack is amazing and everybody does love it.
John Williams.
Is a master at making music.
Yeah.
Duel of Fates.
Didn't he do like Superman Returns music?
I think he might
Like the
have.
dun-dun,
He's definitely
dun-dun.
responsible for my childhood. He did the Jurassic Park thing.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's
And Indiana Jones.
And Indiana Jones. I mean, I just want to crack a whip just thinking about it.
Kinky. No.
Anyways, let's bring ourselves into this topic of DC,
Yeah.
and want to talk more about it. And Superman, Man of Steel, love it or hate it. A lot of people hated the movie. What were your thoughts on it?
I liked it. I mean, it had a good plot. It wasn't. People wanted like the original, not the original Superman, but like you know what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
the Superman movie, they were wanting more vibes like that, catching airplanes again, the heroic, no dark, and then they didn't get that. The movie started in, I about said Metropolis, Krypton with Jor-El, and was that Kurt Russell?
That was Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Close. Yeah, Kurt Russell was Ego, but
Yeah.
Russell Crowe as Jor-El.
He had progeny problems.
Yeah, and then like the planet's getting destroyed, and that was like a good 30-minute sequence, 30 minutes.
And it was exciting because you saw a harsh planet. It was a crazy planet. It made no sense in some sense. I mean, hey, we've got all this technology and we have a skull we're going to put all of our DNA in. I mean, it was silly. It was alien technology. Crazy set pieces. And I mean,
Very nice though.
Jor-El, I mean, he was cool. I mean, he was cool. He's not Marlon Brando. There's two different types of portrayals there. But, like, he was went toe-to-toe with General Zod. Didn't win that, unfortunately. But he did hold his own. And I think it was just a great opening sequence to get you set for it.
One thing I did like about the opening sequence is on Krypton, because that's like the normal planet. Like, I wasn't like, if me and you fought, this is just an example, but if me and you fought, that's how they fought. Like, in normal people, they didn't have their powers. Because then later we see when Zod comes to Earth and he gets his powers, so he struggles at first, but then he like kind of gets it.
Well, one of the things that I kind of would like to address about this movie is the suit. Now, a lot of people didn't like the suit. They said it was too dark. It's not as bright as the one from
Yeah.
other comic books or the things. But you got to understand this was a darker world. And, I mean, you had Christopher Nolan, as a producer in this movie, and he had a lot of influences. And they're coming off of their last movies were the Dark Knight trilogy. And so they really felt like, I think, that let's try to hit on this success We're going to be dark. We're going to be edgy. We're going to be the opposite of the MCU. And Man of Steel at the
Edgy.
time was a standalone movie. They didn't have a huge plan on how big it was going to get, and I think it was a great movie. One part that really bothered me was the Clark Kent letting his dad die. I thought that was pretty bad. I know his dad dies in other iterations in the comic books, but usually it's always been he failed to save his father, and in this one it was he couldn't save his father because he would introduce himself to the world.
Yeah.
And I get it because we're normal. We see normal things, and if you see a guy run up at super speed, grab a guy, and then bring him back, it's like what? It's kind of stupid. They could have just had him go get the dog instead of the old man get the dog. But I understand why he had to die, as stupid as it was in the movie. What about you?
I mean, I think, like you said, coming off the Dark Knight heels, this, compared to the rest of the DCEU, this was like, I think they're trying to make it more realistic like the Dark Knight because there was clear success in that entire trilogy. I don't think they were starting to plan a DCEU at that point. I think it was just well, let's just see how this does, It's going to be Superman, like you said, standalone. There wasn't plans, so they made it realistic. And then after that, they started making everything else more unrealistic. And that's why I think this movie kind of shines in its own perspective compared to the rest, because it's unique compared to the others.
Well, I think, like I said, the darker suit, it bothered a lot of people. We got to
Yep.
see an origin story. We got to see some cool flashbacks.
Yeah.
Uh, it was fresh. It wasn't Superman Returns. I remember as a kid in high school when that movie came out, I loved one scene in that movie more than anything else when he actually caught the plane. I almost cried when that happened. I mean, it was beautiful. You got to see Superman Supermaning.
Yep.
And everybody really likes to see that, and the CGI in that was actually good. It kind of holds up today. I saw it not too long ago.
Speaking of CGI, I'm going to bring this up really fast. Have you watched Avatar lately? Like,
not in a few years.
when that movie came out, everyone raved about the CGI because, it starts with the real world, but then you go to the Pandora with all the blue people. Everything was like visually done.
And luminescent and everything
Yeah,
was bright.
everybody like amazed it. And then you look at it today, and those visual effects. Like if you watched Avatar and then you watched Man of Steel, you would say Man of Steel has 30 times better visual effects. But I mean, I get it's a different perspective because it's not like the entire world
Was
is CGI, but a lot of it was because I mean, you're not gonna have Henry Cavill. Who was General Zod? Do you know who the actor was?
I'm sorry, General Zod. That was flippin' A, if you hadn't asked me.
Yeah.
Michael Sheen, I believe.
Man of Steel. Let's look. It was Michael Shannon. You're close.
Michael Shannon. I'm bad with names, guys. I'm bad with names.
Henry Cavill didn't grab him by the head and plow him through a building and vice versa.
Well, I liked about let's just go ahead and get into it. This movie wasn't Superman. That's been a Superman for years.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's had these powers, never explored them because he's always like told not to. And the thing that his dad did was, it's like, look, son, you are not going to be a normal person. Like, if the world finds out about you, it's going to be pandemonium.
You know what one scene I really do like in that movie? And this is early on. When he's a kid, and like he starts kind of like, I don't think it would have taken this long, but I still like the scene when he's in the school and he's like got the hyperactive hearing going
Yeah,
off, and he like
freaks
goes in the
out.
closet, and the kids are bullying him and crap. But then later, when he's still young, he saves them from the bus that like went to the river.
That so freaked out people because, I mean,
And that's
like, people saw it.
I think that's like with the dad, with the tornado and the dog. That's like kind of what was going on, because he remembers the bus and how people looked at him.
Like, and that's the thing, though. People would look at him like, this movie does a great job in how dickish our military would be if Superman popped up. It's like, because they knew how strong he was and they knew they couldn't control him, it would be like, oh God, this guy's our natural enemy, and no, he's not. And that's why I thought it was, I thought they'd done a lot of aspects like that real, because that is a realistic look
Yeah.
of how our military would treat somebody like Superman. But when he died, it just wasn't the right time for him to show off his powers. And was there really ever a right time? I know.
I mean, when they pulled up, that kind of was the.
I think when a lot of people like see this movie, they have a lot of negative reactions to it, which upsets me because like
It's not your normal Superman.
it's a,
That's
it's not
the
your normal
difference.
Superman. It's a new universe kicking off, and it's a little bit darker and edgy. That's why Superman just jacked the guy's truck. He's a dick to trucks, by the way. Superman's a dick to trucks.
Back when this movie came out, I was still little. I remember I had an action figure. It was like a 4-pack, and it had Superman. It had General Zod, one of his helps, and Jor-El, and like they all had like a accessory that came with it. And Superman's was a car door or a truck door, probably.
Well, he is a dick to trucks. But one of the things about the fighting is, well, let's go back. This movie, we think it's taking a certain path. You hear Lois Lane, she's tracking Superman down. She knows somebody's out there that's crazy strong, and you get to the point to where she finds they're looking for the ship. They found the ship. She gets hurt. He saves her with the heat vision, and they've met. And then he takes her back, and she's like, "Oh man, what the heck?"
Yeah.
And then he meets his dad,
Yep.
the computer version of his dad, and I just thought that whole scene was done well. It's great dialogue because they don't tell you too much. It's not like they didn't overdo it. It's like what did he need to know? And I'm sure they talked more off camera.
Yeah.
But like you did need to see everything.
I think it's cool he had a Fortress of Solitude in this too.
I know.
A version of it.
A version of it, and then we trashed it by the end, unfortunately. But
Drop story.
and him finding his dad, him finding his heritage, then the scene of him with the music swelling like it did too, when he learned how to fly, and the excitement that would cause.
I like when his hand was shaking and
Yeah.
like all the dirt. Like the visuals were
And he-
really good. Good camera
This
work.
is a guy, and that's something we need to remember. This is a guy that just literally learned how to fly before all the bad shit happens, and so unfortunately, him finding out his heritage and everything sets off the beacon that lets Zod and them know somebody's on Earth.
Yeah.
Let's go to Earth, and it was freaky. I mean, the scene where the aliens announce themselves, that was freaky. It had unsettling noise to it, and it was like, I like this. It's different. It's unique, and kind of felt like scary. Like, oh
Yeah.
god, aliens.
That was the point.
And
Because like they had like the TVs black out, and then it wasn't like showing a face. It was kind of like that. Like wasn't it like kind of distorted?
it was
if I
just
remember.
distorted symbols and like.
Well, then it had
lines.
like the moving like
Yeah.
little
It was-
bit.
It was like lines, and I thought it was great. And then, then he has the dilemma of what do I do? And he already knew about Zod because of his father, but like now he's facing Zod, and
And like a few other people.
he
who just
doesn't
like
want
him.
the Earth to be destroyed, but he also doesn't think if he surrenders, they'll not destroy the Earth. So he had a dilemma. He ended up deciding he was just going to turn himself into us, and then we could do whatever we wanted to with him, even though we really couldn't make him do it.
Yeah. I like when he was like.
Yeah, that part was great, and you saw the general. He freaked out. Like he's
Yeah.
not having this. It's like, oh god, handcuffs don't work. What do we do? But it was a good. It was good. It was a good scene. Then he gets up there. Then you have the dream shared technology, which is really cool. Wonder where they got the idea to do dream sharing technology in a movie like this. Christopher Nolan. Then he gets off. He escapes. He comes back to Earth. They're threatening his mom, and this is the first fight Superman's ever been in his entire life. He's never been in a fist fight,
Yeah.
and he's angry because they're
I didn't
threatening his
realize
mom. Yeah, he's never been in a fist fight. Everybody's mad because this guy trashes stuff. This guy doesn't know how to fight. Have you ever been in a fight? Because I'll tell you what, if you've never thrown a punch, it's freaky. Like, you really gotta. I mean, it's freaky if you've never thrown a punch. So I understand Superman's not very good at it.
Yeah.
His advantage is I can fly. Y'all can't.
Yeah.
And he grabbed him and, threatening his mom. And you saw in the combat, he did not do good against these guys. They beat him down. He got lucky.
Yeah.
They got lucky. They got damaged. They couldn't handle the extra senses. So, like, that would mess with them when their face shields got messed up. So that's the only reason he won that fight.
Yep.
That's the only reason. And he tore up Smallville, and it was like, it was cool. It was fun to watch. It was the first time we've ever got to see Superman be Superman. I mean, think about watching the old Superman movies. It was, you'd see Superman do some cool stuff, but it was always like a little cool stuff. And then in Superman Returns, the coolest scene we got was the airplane scene.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I think the biggest reason people don't like this movie was the end. And you know exactly what I mean by that. With General Zod. Because that's not like a comic book superhero, Superman thing to do.
Let's look at the way that they were writing the story. And I know for a fact Christopher Nolan was very upset with the killing of Zod. That's one of the things he did not agree with in this movie. And I think, we look at the fact he'd already told him he wasn't going to stop.
Yeah.
He's a god. I mean, let's face it, these people are gods.
Yeah.
This guy figured out he can fight better than you. And he's super strong. You're not really a good fighter. This guy's a soldier.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just going at it. And unfortunately, they tore up the city. People died. And I think everybody got mad about the senseless destruction. But I mean, you try being a god, never Supermaning. I mean, it would be different if this was a Superman that's been Superman for 5 years, saving people that fell out the window, and stopping robbers and stuff like that. He would have more of a sense about how to control his powers. But also, he's fighting weak people. Two superpowered individuals don't have a street fight, where a car gets messed up.
Yeah.
No, they wreck a city. And I think that's something that
a truck.
I mean, I think that's something that was brilliantly shown to us in this movie that we've never really got to see. And I think everybody wrongfully got mad about it.
Yeah. Now, because it's like you said, if he hadn't done that, regardless, they could put him in a jail, he'd break out, and he'd go right back to it.
Well,
and if he couldn't do it with like a spaceship, like they destroy a spaceship, then he's just gonna go burn everything with his eyes. I mean,
they didn't have a way to kill him. You can't contain him. You don't know how the Phantom Zone works. You don't know how it works. What are you gonna do? I mean, this guy already tried to reshape and terraform the planet. This was not going to go away. This was a threat that was there. And it's not like he wanted to do it. And then after he kills him, snaps his neck, you see the pain in his eyes.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy that he had to kill.
Didn't he yell about it?
He yelled like, it's a freaky yell, man. It was a freaky yell.
I think it would have been better. People would have been okay with it. Say that wasn't the first Superman movie. Say like Lex Luthor was the first villain or whatever. He doesn't kill him. He goes to jail. And then movie or two later, General Zod comes. And then, because then you see, like, he doesn't want to kill people. Well, I mean, it shows that. But he has to, or, doom. So he breaks the neck like he does.
I think
people would have taken it better.
I think a Superman that knew how to fight and had been Supermaning, this wouldn't have been a big threat to him. As big of a threat to him.
Yeah.
He'd have known how to handle it. Then this is a green Superman, and I think Zod was a great choice, and the actor that portrayed him, I mean, God, he did a fantastic job. I mean, and Henry Cavill, he is Superman. Like, have you looked at this guy? He is Superman. The Superman is real, and he is Henry Cavill.
The Witcher. Yeah.
The Witcher, too. He is the Witcher, by the way.
In
case you didn't realize, I don't know if you did or not, his hair's gray.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna throw him off. Yeah, that's gonna throw him off.
But so Superman, Man of Steel was a great start. It did good in the box office. I think it came out in 2012. Everybody got behind this movie at first, and then after the movie came out, like a month or two after the movie came out, is when I heard the negative feedback about him destroying the city, and everybody got mad about it. And then, I guess we need to talk about the next thing.
What ruined the Superman kind of?
What ruined Superman is Batman versus Superman.
I'm going to point out something, and I'll make a point out of it. Back to Star Wars. Last Jedi, we're not going to stay on this long. General Hux, after the first space fight, Snoke throws him around, makes him look like a fool. So you can, everybody's like, oh, he's not scary. So in the new one, they brought in General Pride, which is the old man who was the old Empire general, because Hux isn't scary anymore. So what do you think people are thinking after Batman in a metal suit beats up a god? Even though he had kryptonite, he like smashed him in a sink and all that crap. Like Batman just beat a god. That they kind of gave him the same treatment of, oh, he's a joke.
Well, I mean, I have big problems with. First off, Zack Snyder. If you're a huge fan of him, I'm sorry. It's not saying he's a bad director. He does good work.
He
but
choked.
At the same time, I think he should not have, he should have had more sense than to do a Batman versus Superman at this point. Like, let the guys know each other for a little bit, because in the comics and in the cartoon movie that they came out with, Batman was at the end of being Batman, and he was not the same mentally.
Yeah.
And I think two good people. There's a lot of problems I have with this movie. This is not a good movie. It's a watchable movie. It's a popcorn flick. Like, if it's on and you ain't got nothing else to do,
See,
I mean, you'll watch it.
I almost disagree with that.
Disagree with that?
Yeah. Like, if you go back and watch that movie, the first hour to hour and a half
is enjoyable.
No, it's just build up. No
Yeah,
fighting. There's not really. Superman comes to the desert place, but then they don't show anything. He lands and he kind of looks at the dude. I think he might slam a person when he falls.
Oh, he killed.
But he doesn't show it. It never shows anything.
He definitely killed a guy in the desert. He didn't shoot everybody, but that guy that had the gun to Lois Lane, that guy dead. He killed the crap out. You don't throw somebody through 3 walls and not kill him. So he does kill people. This Superman's a killer. Yeah.
But then they've teased Darkseid with the Nightmare. And then they had Flash.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's the empty promises. They're setting up something with a flashback, and it wasn't good because they never paid it back off. And
that was one of the.
It was confusing. If you watch the movie, it's kind of confusing, especially when you watch the Justice League and you're like, no. But when you're talking about let's talk about the beginning of this movie. You see people worshiping Superman. You see some of his good acts. You see how
I do like the scene, just the camera work. Zack Snyder's really good at this. When Superman, it's Halloween, and they're celebrating Dia de los Muertos, and he's and the building caught on fire, and he's standing in the crowd, and all the people have the face paint on, and everyone's just touching him. Well, I loved that shot.
This movie has a lot of allegories to it about it really does, and I don't really want to get into that because that's going
3 hours later.
3 hours later. I mean, honestly, you can talk about it all day. But the thing that really upset the most was the beginning of this movie. This is what upset me the most. It's first off, Gotham and Metropolis do not need to be side by side. That is the biggest cliche.
They're not side by side. There's a bay in between them.
I'm sorry, there's a bay between them. There is a bay between them. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. That's lazy writing. I think this should not have been Batman versus Superman. It should have been just Superman 2 that introduced Batman and Wonder Woman. And you could have even had...
I would have even done that too, though.
I think you needed to introduce Batman in a Superman movie.
But not like that.
Not with him fighting, no.
Because, why did Batman go to fight Superman? He saw him as a threat, that's it.
Well, I get the motivation. You show it from Bruce Wayne's point of view. You watch the buildings collapse, and a lot of his people that he cared about died. 5,000 people died, I think, is what they said. So I understand Batman's rage. And when I watch this movie, I understand his motivations. Some of them are a little bit bad, especially with how, Lex kind of gets him in with, paying people off to get branded, to get murdered, which pisses Superman off. I mean, in the movie, they do manufacture a feud between them somewhat well, but at the same time, it's just
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, Batman kills people. And you don't get a good... When Batman decides to start taking lives and start killing people, it's over. I mean... It's absolutely over. He is at the end of being Batman. He can't be Batman no more once he gets comfortable killing people.
Well, that's and at the prison at the end when he punches the wall with the brand, that was him giving up killing. But like they say, because like they have a dead Robin suit in this. They say this is an aged Batman. Why is he art? Does that mean like when he had Robin, he was killing people and both of them were doing it? I mean, he should have gave up killing long before this movie. If this is like
Batman
the case.
doesn't kill people. That's what sets him apart from others. And the fact that this Batman does. And here's the biggest problem. If you're trying to set up a universe and you're starting us off with a Batman that kills, I mean, you've got nothing left for Batman. I don't think he's redeemable once he does that. Like, he's just not redeemable, if you ask me.
Yeah. And what do you think about the main? I mean, he's not the main villain, but he's kind of is at the end.
It's Doomsday, but then I hear that this ain't really going to be Doomsday. They're going to bring a real Doomsday in a later movie.
I've not heard that.
Yeah, rumors. Who knows if they're true. But, this guy, he doesn't look like Doomsday. He looks like a bald guy with, like, some problems.
He kind of looks like the MCU version of Abomination.
I mean, he's roided out. He's got, and I get that he got the spikes as he got damaged. And he was a threat, and he was menacing. And it's not like it was the worst bad guy ever, but the fight made no sense. If you want to talk about that,
I do like when Wonder Woman shows up. But I mean, that was pretty.
Wonder
badass.
Woman was probably one of the better parts of the movie, and she held her own. And something that I guess since you're going to talk about Doomsday. Do you realize that Superman killing him off was not just a big mistake? It was dumb. Because Wonder Woman's smiling, having fun in this fight. She's enjoying herself.
Yeah.
She could have got the spear. She knows how to handle weapons.
She clearly knew how to handle him. I mean,
and you know what? She is not damaged by kryptonite. Kryptonite does nothing to her because she's not a Kryptonian. So she could have taken a spear that magically kills Doomsday and just easily done it. No, it has to be me. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense.
The whole thing behind it was thick skin.
Well, if you look at that comic, it's actually a cartoon with Doomsday.
Death of Superman?
Yeah. He had ran through the entire Justice League when that happened. Everybody was messed up. It had to be Superman because he was the only one left that had any power. So it makes sense in that situation. But you got Wonder Woman kicking it with this guy pretty well, too, by the way. So they just killed him off, and it was dumb.
Yep.
And you don't kill Superman off in the second movie, bring him in. Now let's get into the fight with the setup. What did you think about Lex Luthor, first off? How was he to you?
He wasn't a Lex Luthor. Because, in everything else, he's, a genius. And he's not, I mean, he's a villain. He's crazy. But not like this. That was more of a Riddler to me than, And, I mean, I'm not saying he's a Riddler, riddle me this, Batman. But, the way he did things was more of, a Riddler's way. Or even a Joker's way of doing it than, actually Lex Luthor. Because I'm always imagined Lex Luthor as, the mech suit or suit wearing type. And I mean, I get that they might bring that later, but I don't know.
It pains me to watch the performance that we had to watch. I mean,
I don't even think it's the performance because I think he performed well with what he had.
I think
but it was how he was written.
I think you can say that it was how he's written, but could have been just his flair. I mean, he was annoying, and he was fascinated with gods and demons and all this stuff. And, I mean, again, those themes run through this movie a lot. And, I mean, that's not a problem that they run through the movie. It's just that's what he was obsessed with. He was really just upset that he couldn't be a god and somebody else could be. And he wanted the god to die. And, I mean, that's basically this movie motivation for him in a nutshell. And I think so many dumb things as far as how he set up his plan. It was dumb. I mean,
blowing up Congress.
Oh, you're not really gonna make people think that Superman did that. I mean,
yeah, he doesn't have a power. He's not Godzilla with the, you know what I'm talking about. But he's not Godzilla with the combustion.
I think that he's
no way.
Was he a bad villain? I think he's a mediocre villain. On a scale from 1 to 10, he's mediocre. He wasn't a great villain.
I think that their plan is to build his character in a lot of movies. This is just the start, but they should have done at least a little bit more on it than what they gave us.
Yeah, they probably should have.
Because I said, the first hour and a half of this movie, is just character development without anything, and it's so long
Just
that it's
going
dry.
to point out that I cannot stand the fact that he took the Jolly Ranchers and tried to put them in people's mouth. That was cringeworthy. That made me cringe.
Yeah. The
It was
senator is
just-
like cherry.
Yeah, it was cringy. Like, you don't do that. Like, never seen a villain do that.
That's why I don't see
Why are
it
you
as
doing
Lex
that?
Luthor. That's like a Joker before chemical crazy kind of thing, because he was already kind of
I
crazy.
mean, like, that was just.
I just
it was
didn't see it as Lex Luthor.
stupid. It wasn't even. It was hard to watch. A lot of things in this movie were hard to watch, and that was one of them.
And I didn't like when he was like in the ship and he's like, "Show me everything." Like that was kind of weird, because like I'm pretty. I don't know. I just didn't like that.
Well, you know, I
get it, but like
you
I
haven't brought up how the hairstyle, which I get why
That
they
didn't
let
bother
him,
me that bad.
I know why they let him have long hair, so they could
Shave it.
shave it off later. And
At
have
the end,
big
you're
reveal,
like,
yeah.
ooh,
Ooh,
because they did it at the
it's
end.
classic Lex.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I didn't mind the hair. He was eccentric. He was
But then
crazy.
again,
you know,
it's Jesse Eisenberg, right?
yes, it's just
He didn't look great bald either. I mean, that might be the decision maker.
I tell you, and I know he's no longer an actor, and he's basically a horrible human being. But Superman Returns, Kevin Spacey did a good job with Lex Luthor. I wish they had found another actor that would do a version like that.
Yeah.
I think that would make it sit a lot.
But
well.
like, he's just so crazy at the point of like, it's not just the presentation or how he portrayed it. It had to be some of the writing. Like, do you really? I mean, if like on set, he was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Jolly Ranchers in people's mouths."
I mean, Jared Leto sent people dead rats.
Well, that's
so,
a little
I mean, actors do crazy things.
different.
To
That's
be
just
character.
insane. And like, they're not really gonna. I don't know. He'll come back, and hopefully they do him a little bit better than
Well,
this.
like I said, I think I think there's some qualities in this Lex Luthor that we can see in other movies, and hopefully it'll get better.
Ding,
But
ding, ding, ding,
let's.
ding.
So many things to talk about in this movie.
Yeah.
Kind of condense it a little bit. The actual fight between Batman and Superman, the thing that sets it off. Superman needs Batman's help. He's got his mom. He's figured out his identity. He's got his mom hidden in 1 hour.
Martha.
And Martha. And he's got to go. He's got to go, and he's told that he has to kill Batman for his mom to live.
Yep.
And Superman is, thank God, smarter than that. And he tries to reason with Bruce. And the problems that I keep having with this movie is he gets to a dark place. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when Batman gets this dark in the comic books and stuff, there's no coming back from this.
Nope.
This is the darkest he gets, and he retires from being Batman after being that dark. I mean, his redeeming.
Just you wait. He's about to be the butt of all the jokes in the movies.
But like, he really was. But once you're killing people and you've decided you're gonna fight Superman, you're done as a superhero, even when you win, because like, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And that's the biggest problem with this Batman. And it's not even the wardrobe. I mean, his outfit is kind of stupid, but if it's dark, it's not so bad. But he did get shot in the head like a bunch. So what's the deal with that cow? How bulletproof is that? Because like,
apparently very.
it's apparently indestructible. His plan for Superman was piss him off with bullets, piss him off more with sound waves, shoot some more bullets at him, then hit him with the green gas, and then
Screw him up.
it was exciting. Like, the fight was exciting, and at times it actually got a lot worse. It was a really bad fight. But I'll tell you, the moment that Superman throws the punch and he just stops it, and he's like, "What?" That was great. I was fanboy. It was great to see it. But then the fight kind of goes downhill from there. And like, there's this one scene where he's starting to get his powers back, and he's taking like 10 seconds to reload his gun. Which, by the way, if you didn't know this, Superman is fast. Like, how fast?
Faster than a bullet.
Faster than a bullet. I mean, I don't know how fast a bullet goes, but Superman is
Not as fast as Superman.
But Superman is faster than the bullet.
Yeah.
And so he could have stopped it. He knows the green gas will get him. What's he do? It's just, there was a lot of dumb things, I think, that were scattered throughout this movie.
Yeah.
And that had to be like number one dumb. I'm just gonna let it hit me, and then I'll be weak again. And you know, and he breaks out the spear. He gets Superman. He's gonna kill him. What do you think?
I think Martha is gonna save the day.
Martha saves.
The fight's not terrible, but it could have been a lot better. But I don't like the part when he's like got him beat, so he's just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put him on a cord and make him a kite through these pillars. And he's like spinning around and he's taking out all the pillars with him. Like, you'd think like part of the building would have fallen on Batman at that point. Like, that was kind of just a dumb part. And then he's about to stab him with a spear and he says, Martha.
We've had all the apologies. Look, I've seen all the YouTube videos. And the people apologizing for it and saying, this is, it showed him that he was human. That's what the Martha thing showed. He had a mother. He wasn't human. And it snapped him out of his murder rage.
I think it's just funny how he says it.
I think it's, why did you say that name? I mean, it is kind of funny. By the way, I hate the Bat voice. Ben Affleck as Batman, Bruce Wayne, looks pretty good. He's a cool guy. He's drinking, he's working out, and he's banging women.
He's banging Wonder Woman.
Well, no, he said
trying.
The scene he was drinking, and then like, oh, there's a girl in my bed. It was like, I'm Batman, I'm Bruce Wayne, I have the greatest life ever.
Yeah.
And and they went with that way, and first off, Alfred. Did we like Alfred in this? I mean, did he do good? Jeremy Irons, he's a great actor.
I liked Michael Caine better, but I'm not saying like trying to take anything away. He was still good. I mean,
Jeremy Irons is the guy
his
in
voice.
the chair. He is the guy in the chair. So we finally got Batman with the guy in the chair, because in the old movies, Alfred was not the guy in the chair.
Yeah, that's true.
So we finally got the guy in the chair, and it was refreshing.
Yeah.
And
I like when he's like testing his voice maker to make sure it's working. He's like Huffleberry Hufflepuff, Huffleberry Hufflepuff, or whatever he says.
Huffleberry Bufflepuff, or Hufflepuff, or Bufflepuff, Rufflepuff.
Something.
And
I mean, like, I like when he's like walks in, like he walks in and he's like getting ripped and he just like makes a joke about it.
Oh yeah, by the way, he is absolutely jacked in this.
And
it's
like
a win for muscles. This guy's got him.
All the girls like that.
This was I'm serious. I don't like the bat suit, but I did like his size and physicality. Yeah. He did look more physical, and Batman had like more Batman powers. I mean, crawling on the walls, and doing crazy things. He was a scary and imposing Batman. Just please, why are you killing people? It was bad direction on that movie, and the ending, Wonder Woman, she was fantastic. We got to set up to see Flash, and I think a lot of people did complain about this movie feeling like a setup for Justice League.
But like Wonder Woman, what do you think about that movie before we go to Justice League?
Batman killed people?
Yeah.
All through the movie.
And then at the end,
That's the opposite of
At the end, he gives up killing. Like, if you would have listened to him, he gives up killing by punching a wall. But then, like, they say it's like Batman in his later days, and he's already had Robin that's died.
He did in some versions, but it was at the end of his career.
Or the beginning, and he gave it up really fast.
Yeah.
Not like.
That's like the antithesis of Batman.
Yeah, they kind of butchered the.
Yeah,
frick out
he
of it.
refuses to kill the Joker.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you see our dilemma. Anyways, so Wonder Woman, right? I mean, that movie was great.
Yeah.
That was, speaking of Wonder Woman, let's talk about the Wonder Woman movie. I don't know what to say. I mean, it was great all the way
I liked
through.
it.
I liked the fact it was set in time back in World War One.
I was disappointed by one thing.
Was that what was that?
Well, no, not even Ares. I don't like that. But the whole movie, they're like, she's like, men are not bad. It's Ares. But like, I think in the end, even though she killed Ares, men should have been bad.
Well, we're going to talk about that, but in a minute. I want to bring up this to get into that. When you see the beginning of the movie and she learns her powers and she's being told the story, she's being told two versions of the story. One from her mother and one from...
the people, they've been scared.
Yeah, I forget the girl's name that's training her. We're really bad at this podcast.
I don't remember if Hippolyta is her mom or if that's the person training her.
I think it's the person training her. But we see the people training her. We see her get the story. We see her getting stronger. And I think she has been told that Ares is the reason for evil. That men are evil because of Ares. And that's the story that she's been told. And so that's what she believes. Because you have to look at this as the biggest fish out of the water ever. World War One gets brought upon her, and Steven, what was his name?
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor, who is Chris Pine, by the way, and he does not get enough money. Give that guy like all the money for all the movies. Just let him be in all movies. I mean,
he has nice eyes.
I'm not gonna say that he has nice eyes. He's funny. He's a funny person, and that scene with the rope and he tells I'm a spy. That was hilarious. It was great. It was great. The acting was great. Everybody's acting was great. And then they go on this mission. And she's just gonna find Ares and she's going to kill him. I mean, it's literally like a child who's been told something their whole life that they've got to do something, and now they're going on that quest, and she sounds stupid. I mean, everybody thinks she's stupid. I mean, like, ignorant. We can't say stupid on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I have been informed that I have to say ignorant. She's ignorant of humanity and the way men are. And when you watch the interactions with the other people that you see, I mean, you can tell that she really has no idea of how this world works. What are you thinking?
She's ignorant.
She is ignorant.
No. I mean, I like it. I mean, some fish out of water movies are good. Others are terrible. This one did it good. And then, like, he shows up, he crashes the plane, and then, like, they look for his plane. They're fighting. She sees people die for the first time. I mean, like, from combat, really.
Yeah.
When the Nazis...
Well, they have
they're
the
not
life
Nazis,
springs.
but...
I don't think anybody on that island ages, so...
Yeah. I mean, they have to age because she starts as a girl, but... I get what you mean. It's very, very slow. And, but, like, this is the first time she's seen, like, combat death, like, a war... So, and, like, all of them, because they're all, like, surprised, and, like, at that point, they're like, yeah, Steve Trevor, he's evil because he's man.
Well, Steve, yeah, they did, and Diana eventually trusted him after the last scene, and they talked, and they had a good chemistry. Like,
yep.
You could tell he was just blown away by her, and she was just fascinated with the first man she'd ever met because she'd only been around women. This is a human guy, a normal guy. And, like, she was kind of fascinated or curious about it. She's very curious about, like, how humans are, like, what they think. And the scene where she ate ice cream for the first time was just absolutely adorable, hilarious. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was a good movie.
When she sees the baby.
And she sees the baby. Now, when we talk about...
I like when she's putting on clothes, like, she's trying them on. She's got, like,
Yeah.
And she's like, how am I supposed to fight in this?
Yeah, well,
Doesn't she rip something?
Yeah. She looked good in those clothes. I mean, like, she looked good, but you can't look good and be good at fighting, too. Can you? Is that a thing? Can you be fashionable and...
Gal Gadot looks good.
Can you be fashionable and tactical at the same time?
I mean she goes into that, like, party in that blue dress, and she's got the sword. Like,
yeah, that
I mean, there's proof you can be both.
I mean, either that or have a tactile neck like Archer.
Yeah.
Tactile neck. Anyways, I think, the scene with the trench when they get to the front lines, I think that's the scene I think everybody wants to tear up over because she hears that one woman, first off, speaking French. She's understanding it. That's crazy.
Can she speak? Isn't like one of her things she can speak like every language or something like that?
I don't know. I don't know her full set of powers. I was just upset that the invisible jet wasn't in this movie. I'm still wondering where it's at.
She can super leap. She doesn't need it.
Oh yeah, that's right. But anyways, that scene was set up right. Steve has seen some of her power, so he knows he thinks she's a little silly with the whole Ares being the cause of all this evil, and you can tell that by the way he treats her. But at the same time, he's trying to protect her. He still is a man and thinks he can protect her. And he knows that she's more powerful than, like, a normal person, but, like, he has no clue.
But she's a woman.
But he has no clue.
In his
And
eyes.
then when she tries to cross the line and he's like, no, 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 you can't. No man can. It's no man's land. And she's like, but that's not what I'm going to do. I was like, man, that's great. They
I
they
think
really
Didn't she
did.
say I am no man?
no.
No,
What'd she say?
She didn't say anything like feminist. She was like,
that's what makes this scene so good. What
they
she
didn't try to make
said
like a point.
was,
It was like,
but that's not what I'm going to
because
do.
no man could cross. She's like, that's what I'm
And
gonna do.
she takes her clothes off. She's Wonder Woman now. She
She has
just
like that scene behind her back. She turns around. She's got her
slow,
crown, not her
yeah,
crown, but like her headpiece on. She's in
slow
her
mo,
suit. She climbs the
Fortnite?
ladder. Yeah,
slow mo.
something.
She's bouncing bullets. Now she's seeing bullets, and she's realizing I'm pretty fast. I can bounce these things. I'm good. And she gets held down. Everybody comes, helps her out, and you start seeing her use more and more of her powers as the movie goes on. Though, I mean, you see her like get really confident with
Yeah.
her powers. I mean, too, she beats the crap out of some people, and like people are like, "What?" And it was good. And they saved the village, which, spoiler alert, they didn't save it completely because he got wrecked later. But
Oops.
just so sad. Anyways, they save the village. Some more stuff happens, and they end up being. Let's face it, it's the end fight now.
Well, you know what that scene like before we go to that?
Okay.
I just wish it had, because I like the music. I wish it would have had a little bit of the guitar, like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I just really like that song, and that's because when she showed up in Batman vs Superman, she like you think Batman's about to die, she does the thing, she protects him, and then the guitar like that, da na 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 na. You know what I'm talking about, and that's like how I identify her in the DCEU now. That like song is like clicked in my mind with her when she does something badass. So like when she's crossing the trench, I was kind of expecting it, and I mean it has music that fits, but I don't know. I sort of like the guitar just because that's how I see her, like identify like her and her music in this, because like even like Superman Returns, you saw Superman, you hear that da da da. That's how you, I don't know. It just kind of clicked.
Well, I'll tell you, with this movie, they did have a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
But that would have been something that would have been cool to see. I think when you saw Wonder Woman fight, what was the general's name that was the false? Because that's another thing that we haven't talked about in this movie. You know, we all thought that Ares was that general guy, like Lufendorf,
Yeah.
and we all thought it was him. That guy, by the way, is a phenomenal actor. Give him all the money too. He plays great bad guys, or just really dickheaded guys,
Or generals.
or generals. He's great. He's a Nazi before Nazis.
Yeah.
He was the Nazi. He's the original Nazi. But you think this guy's Ares. I mean, you really do. The whole movie's setting you up, and that's one thing I really liked about this movie. It was its own story, because when you looked at Man of Steel, it was a certain tone. Then you had Batman versus Superman. It was a different tone. This movie had a completely different tone, but it still fit in the universe. It's believable in the universe, and it was good. And let's talk about the woman in the blue dress.
We haven't even talked
Because
about Minerva too.
is she the one with the messed up face?
She's the doctor.
Oh man,
Doctor
that
Death.
woman, she is an evil person. Oh man, uh, I felt sorry for her at the end.
Yeah.
When she's like, her mask is faded, and you see how messed up her face is, and like Wonder Woman's got a tank, and I'm like, I might squash you with this, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. The scene where they have the blue dress,
Party.
and she's got the sword, and she's dancing with the general, and that's just such a good scene. You really do think that is Ares,
Mm-hmm.
and I give them props for setting up the fake. I mean, because they did it well,
Very well.
and he had whatever instant super soldier serum, pretty much, that made him stronger, and they had a nice little fight for a minute, and then it was over, and then nothing happened. The people were still going to bomb everything, and that broke her heart. And
Yeah.
it really, really broke her heart. And then Steve comes in and says, people are just bad. And to your point that we were talking about earlier, people are just bad. And she didn't know that. She thought that all the evil came from Ares because of the stories that she's been told her whole life. It's not that it was the film creators wanted to think that. It's just that's how God, that's how people in that mythos think. I mean, they don't think the sun comes up unless it's dragged by a chariot every day. I mean, so you have everything has a meaning. If you're in love with somebody, oh, this God did it, or
Yeah.
all that. So that's just how her people thought about things. Very simplistic.
I mean, my only problem with it though was like when she does like deal with Ares at the end, they do stop and realize, oh no, what are we doing? We're doing terrible things. So it kind of did push the idea of men aren't bad, Ares is bad.
Well,
I think it'd have been better. Like it wouldn't have been a big
also,
change if they just didn't stop.
also, you have to understand these people just witnessed two gods fighting. So you know,
I mean,
I'm
I
gonna be
don't.
honest. I'm not fighting in the war no more. Like I see two gods just go at it, duking it out. It's like, oh, did their side win? Their side won. I'm done. I'm on her side
Yeah.
now.
Especially like if I'd been in the trench fight and survived, and then like I'm at the airport loading that plane, I just watch it blow up in the sky, and then
Look,
that dude.
all I'm saying is these two gods fought. You won? Okay, you know what? I am putting my gun down. I don't need war no more. Turns out I don't need to do this. And I mean, it was just like I get where you're coming from on that. I just felt like
If it,
it fit, you know. And then what about the costume?
I like it.
You liked it. What about the fake? I mean, I just like the
Like
fact,
the fake God Killer sword.
Yeah, because that was the deep fake right there. Because we all thought the sword was the God Killer. Now, well, I did. I mean, there's probably smarter people out there that's gonna rip us alive in the comments. All three of you. You're gonna rip us alive in the comments saying, "Oh, we knew she was the real God Killer the whole time," and you might have known that she was the real God Killer the whole time. But I watched the movie.
You don't like to heavily think about it like ahead. You like
no,
to just
I
enjoy
don't
it.
want to think about it. I want to enjoy the movie.
I like when she went Super Saiyan. Just
I don't know if that's what you would technically call Super Saiyan. We'll call it
You know what I mean.
Super Diana.
Okay.
But no, she gets her power. She starts flying. She had to learn how to. I mean, she became stronger as the fight went on, and it was the power of love. You know, and I just want to say that
That's why she can cook the
done.
too.
It was done very well. This whole scene was done well. You know, first off, bringing my point back to the sword. When he destroyed the sword, it broke. It was like, oh man,
Yeah.
shit. And then she realizes, oh, I'm the God Killer. And then she kind of realizes her true story now. And then they're in this intense fight. What'd you think about Ares' suit? You said that you thought it was great.
No.
No,
I don't like it.
You did not like it.
Like, cause like the concept art, which will be on screen.
Well, they changed it. You know, it
Last
was
minute too,
changed.
cause like you can see behind us on the shelf, all the merchandise was like that. He had like the dead animal skull, and he had a black face with like either red or white eyes. That was the only thing that changed. He had a nice sword, shield, and then he had like flame swords he got. You didn't really see any of that. All he did was like kind of like Magneto moves, I guess I'd call it, where he's like,
yeah.
and then like the mustache, cause his face. I wouldn't have even minded the face of whatever his name is, Professor Lupin, whatever the actor's real name is. I'm sorry, I don't know. But the mustache, just like kind of watching that, like I wasn't really intimidated because the face, because it's all I focused on. Like I think. Like, you understand what I'm saying. It's just, like, I would have rather... Because, like, even in the comics or, like, the Injustice games, if you've played those, Ares has the black face. And, I mean, I like that kind of... It's kind of what I'm used to, so maybe that's where it's coming from. But I just thought it was silly. It's not intimidating. I wasn't scared of him because of that. That just might be me, though.
Well, I think it was a CGI fight. It was a big, dark CGI fight.
Yeah.
Which is what we've becoming accustomed to all of a sudden. You know, we had a nice, bright CGI fight with gods and Man vs. Steel, with slow-mo fights, sped-up scenes, or like those combos that looked like Mortal Kombat. I mean, this movie, like, that was the pinnacle. And then you had Batman vs. Superman, which had some good fighting, but in the end, it was dark and it was bad, especially with Doomsday, some of it. It was just too CGI. And then this movie had a big, bad CGI fight at the end. That was a little bit of a letdown. I liked how Steve died. It was heroic.
Good sacrifice.
And
He never got to see, like, that Diana was right. I just realized that.
No.
Because, like, he died, and then she kills him, and then the men do stop. So, like, her point's kind of proven.
Again, though, I'm going to point out that they just saw two gods fight. They took the side of the one that won. I mean, people aren't crazy. It's like,
Well,
ew.
they're not always stupid.
I don't
That's
think that's
right.
what...
They're not stupid.
I don't think that's what stopped
They
them.
have some self-preservation.
I mean, hey, look, I'm not fighting the woman that just destroyed a god. Like, who's that guy? I don't know.
Well, I don't think they really knew who was who. They just saw two gods throwing down.
I'm just like, I don't want to fight no more. I just saw them fight. My fight's pointless. I don't know what these two guys are beefing about, but you know they're beefing.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting nowhere near that shit.
Yeah.
Now, Wonder Woman, great movie. I think we've talked about it enough.
Yeah.
Now it's time to talk about some garbage. It smells. It's bad. It's the Justice League. And I don't want to hear anything about Zack Snyder's cut is going to be great. We're going to know how great it is.
When it comes
It's coming out. I think it's going to be,
2021.
if I'm not mistaken, on HBO. And
HBO
like
Max.
HBO Max. On like a little mini series. It's going to like, they're going to break it up into a couple episodes.
I think 2.
2 episodes?
It might even be smaller. I might be wrong on that.
I'm not sure, but they're going to break it up into some episodes. And we're going to see. And the thing is, we're not going to know how popular this is because...
But we don't even talk about that yet. Just like the movie itself, though.
Well, I just know everybody's going to say, hey,
Snyder
you know what?
Cut will be great.
The Snyder Cut will be great. I'm going to...
We'll find out.
We don't know. We don't know.
Will it be better? Maybe. Will it be worse?
Now,
Yeah,
everybody talks about
possibility.
Everybody talks about Josh Whedon's cut. Look, Josh Whedon makes great stuff. It was the studio. We all know that the studio had a large hand in the way this movie turned out. The CGI in this movie was horrible. Horrendous. I can't even think of a word that describes how garbage this was.
They were ignorant when they saw it and said, that looks good.
I mean, look at the ending battle scene. Like the town, it was just red, and it was the color palette in this movie was all over the place. It was comic booky.
There was a dark fight. There was that final fight.
It was bad. And I just want to point out, let's talk about some of the characters.
Before that, I want to point out one thing.
Oh, God, no.
The opening scene. Because, I mean, I get Batman had the files now, but why are you going to open with Batman's hunting a parademon? I don't know.
Well, I mean, how did he know about the parademon? I mean,
we assume that from the files. That's all we can do. But still, that just
I think
should have been a little bit more of a build-up, in my opinion.
You know, he fights a parademon, and he, you know, it's what it is. But, like, I think there's two things in this movie that's a lot of setup. But when he finds the Flash, I actually like the Flash. He was kind of like their attempt of a Peter Parker.
He was quirky.
He was quirky. He was trying to be funny, awkward. Didn't really know how to be a superhero yet. And I like that. I like it when a superhero doesn't know how to be a superhero. And he's learning.
I like when he's got the batarang and he's like, can I keep this?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's Cyborg, too. Because they introduced Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman in this. Kind of. I mean, they all got introduced by Superman, but you know what I mean. And then Cyborg, I didn't really like him. Because, like, he didn't do anything. He's, like, the tech dude. But you never really saw him do anything.
And his tech was busted.
Yeah.
And he did try to shoot Superman.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second. When Superman comes back to life, the CGI is horrible. And he's like, tell me, do you bleed?
Alright, you know, let's just go ahead and talk about Batman. I can't buy Batman in this movie.
No.
He was murder Batman in the last movie, and now he's the guy that unites the Justice League to save the world. His attitude's totally changed, and I just don't buy it from a narrative perspective. I really don't. Like, you know, this is the Batman we kind of needed in the first movie that we got him in, and now we're just now getting him, and it's not believable because he was murder Batman in the last movie. Now he's saved the world Batman. I don't know. You leave it in the comments. Tell us what you think on that. Do you think this guy really... Do you buy his change, or is it just a bit far-fetched? I don't buy it. But, you know, I'm not the smartest of people. Anyways.
I mean, I guess Superman died and that, like, affected him. But that's not going to make him do that, like, I would say 180. Because, you know, that's all the way around. But, like...
180, and it's
more like a 220. Like, he goes, and then he goes a little bit more.
Like, buy Coke.
No. Shh. We're not sponsored.
Sponsored, but they've got a good product that tastes great. And a shiny red can.
Fair enough.
Please sponsor us.
Yeah. Give us money.
Give us money. We'll say slightly not bad things about your product.
Slightly not bad.
Slightly not bad.
You already complimented it.
Well, you compliment, then you tear
You
down.
gotta butter them up, and then you gotta be like,
Yeah,
just
I'm
kidding,
gonna
this
tear
drink
'em
sucks.
Drink sucks. It's
But for
horrible.
now, drink it.
Drink it and pay us money, Coke. Anyways, after the bad advertisement puns, when you see the scene where they brought him back, first off, Batman is all about if there's 1%. If there's 1%. If there's 1%. Like if there's 1% chance that he could turn evil one day and kill us all, we gotta kill him. There's just a 1% chance. If there's a 1% chance that we can bring him back to life, we gotta bring him back to life. Has he never seen don't bring people back to life? Zombies are not cool.
Maybe Pet Cemetery doesn't exist in his universe.
I don't know. Yes, it does, because Flash mentioned it specifically.
Yeah, he did.
He did mention it. Pet Cemetery. Oh God.
I mean, that's kind of a good insight because he wakes up and he's just like, "I'm gonna clap some cheeks."
Well, I don't understand what his thoughts were. And I think that's something that I think might have confused other people as well. Like when he first wakes up and he's looking, what is he thinking? I would like to know what he was thinking. Can he remember? Does he remember things? We know he remembered Batman a little bit, but it seemed like he did not remember Wonder Woman at all.
It looked like he remembered being friends at the end.
Yeah, it looks like he just remembers. Did you bleed?
Maybe he got a concussion when he got thrown into the pillars, so from that point on, it's just.
I don't know. It was weird. I understand why he got mad. He sees a dude with a gun pointed at him, trying to freak out.
Maybe he's mad that Snyder got cut.
I liked the Wonder Woman and him fighting for just a second. It was kind of nice because the headbutts were great.
You know what else they did show off in this movie though? His speed.
They showed it off because I'll tell you one of the cooler scenes was Flash running at him. He sees Flash.
The eyeball.
And Flash is like, whoa, this guy sees me. And I think Flash never saw that. So, Flash doesn't know how to fight. It was made painfully obvious.
Well, that was like a whole thing with this character, though.
He falls down a lot. For somebody that can run at infinite speed. He spends a lot of time falling down and being useless. He has a few good scenes.
He's like, I've only pushed people and run away.
And, you can do a good job pushing people, I guess.
I did...
But what do you think about the plot of this movie? It was just all over the place.
I liked I'm not gonna call it a fight. I liked when the parademons had hostages and they went to save them. That part was kind of cool because, just sit on Flash for 1 second. He's like, save one person. And he's like, then what? He's like, you'll know. He saves the person. He's like, oh, saves another one. I did like that. But then, it turned into a fight that was kind of messy. It was okay. I liked the part where he, taps the sword to send it to Diana. That part was kind of cool.
I just would like to mention in this movie, the Crawley thing was stupid.
Yeah. The crawler,
I think it's
called the Nightcrawler.
The Nightcrawler. That's a worm. That's not a Batman thing. It's a worm. The Batman was pretty useless in this movie. In the last movie, he's killing Superman, pretty much. And in this movie, he's useless. He has to get a gun to shoot the parademons at the end. He didn't have any cool... he did have cool gadgets. Don't get me wrong. His movie was littered with cool gadgets. So,
yeah.
He did have some cool gadgets, except for the Nightcrawler. That was the lame gadget. Batman was just ready to sacrifice himself way too much in this movie if you paid attention to it.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to sacrifice myself. Well, you brought the whole team here. It's like, we haven't even talked about Aquaman, though, at all.
One thing I did like with Aquaman, when they're, in the, I call it the whale, because, I don't know, it kind of looks like a whale. The big, Batman carrying Batwing that had, a changing room and all that garbage, too, somehow.
It's
like Mary Poppins' suitcase. But he's, talking to Wonder Woman. He's like, you're hot, we're all gonna die. And then he's got the lasso of truth wrapped around him, or he's touching it or whatever. I liked that.
I'm gonna be honest. I liked the casting for him. I think Jason Momoa is he's a cool looking dude. I think the fighting in this movie with the CGI was kind of wonky. they didn't do a good job with it.
Yeah.
They did a good job setting up the Flash. I felt like Jason Momoa, Wonder Woman. And I liked the relationship with Wonder Woman and Batman. Even
Yeah.
though Batman was kind of useless, and I liked how Batman was vulnerable though when he got hit, like when Superman threw him into the car and like messed him up. I liked that it messed him up because he is a guy.
Yeah.
These are people that are incredibly strong, and I get it's in the cartoons. Batman's always got a gadget or trick up his sleeve or like invincible for some reason, unbreakable. It was nice to see that, but like I think again, Cyborg. I think that they should have wrote him a little bit better. I think the actor playing him did a good job, and I would have liked to have seen less CGI. Because, like, I'm going to tell you, watching him a lot of times took me out of it. Like,
Yeah.
his CGI.
He didn't look good.
He didn't look good, and I think that was a big problem. I feel like
He looked better when he got like the slightly new suit at the
more
end. But
practical would have been better. They should have went with more practical effects with him, just to help it out.
yeah.
Because like he didn't look good. Of course, I think of the cyborg from Teen Titans as a cyborg. You know, as far as the character, I felt like it was flat. Did you think he was?
Yeah.
Did you think
They didn't give him a lot.
They didn't give him a lot.
And like I said, you never really saw him. He's just the tech guy.
And
he can fly the.
he was confused. He didn't know if he was working for the mother boxes to bring out the end.
I think they could have played that better too.
They could have played it better. I think there's a lot of things they could have fiddled with. Darkseid. Darkseid. He was supposed to be in this movie, and Steppenwolf was.
He's
supposed
in
to.
the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, he's going to be in the Snyder Cut along with a black suit Superman, and apparently, they chopped Wonder Woman chopped Steppenwolf's head off in the Snyder Cut. Rumors.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. But I'm interested in seeing it just to shut people up. I think the main thing is they rushed to get to this movie.
Watchable.
They rushed to get to this movie.
Yeah.
And it shows. And then they should have just let Snyder.
And the director change really kind of shows too.
And the studio got real pressury. And WB doesn't know how to make movies. It's obvious that they don't.
That's why Flash is going to reset.
Their movies have been all over the place in tone, and I think it's obvious. They need, and Snyder, nothing against this guy. Nothing against Snyder, because I think he makes good stuff. The Watchmen, did you watch that? That's Zack Snyder. 300. Really good visual movies. So it's not like he doesn't know how to tell a story.
He just doesn't fit, because all the movies he'll do will be kind of dark, but then you'll have movies like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, whatever, and they're not. They're a happier movie.
I think the final thing I want to say about this movie is they was trying to get out there too quick. They made it too quick, and they didn't know what all they really wanted. They did not give these characters time to develop or time to want to care about them.
Yeah.
And the Superman side plots in this movie were just not good. Like Superman, and I'm going to be honest with you, when you look at Marvel, they base their whole universe around Iron Man. He is the guy that it's all based around. And they needed to do that with Superman. He needed to be the one peg in everything that was connected, because he's just the most interesting character. And I'm not saying anything wrong against Batman, because he's a guy you can build around too. But, they've done a bad job with both these characters. And
Flex still can't fix them now.
What are we going to see going forward? I'd like to see better. Now, the next movie we're going to talk about is a completely... And it worked. It really worked, but it's a completely different tone for DC movies.
I know what you're going to
being
say.
Shazam. It was
that
a kids movie
was huge, because you got to realize Batman vs. Superman set up Aquaman, which came... All the movies I'm about to say set up that. Aquaman came out before it. He was in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Flash, same thing. We haven't seen the movie yet, but Wonder Woman was introduced Batman vs. Superman before a movie. So and Batman, he hasn't even had his own movie yet. Superman's the only one so far that had his own movie before group movies. Then came Shazam. He's the second to really have his own movie before a group movie. And they knocked it out of the park.
They did, and it was a lot of things with that movie, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but they did things well.
Yeah.
The fighting was pretty good. It was a kid that didn't know how to fight.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to use his superpowers. I like that. Like I said, I like seeing superheroes that just got their powers figuring it out, and it not be figured out in like stupid ways. I mean, yeah, the bus scene was a little wonky. Their first fight was like, "Oh, you've got powers too." I mean, he's a kid having fun, and I think that was great. I mean,
Like all the tests
yeah.
and stuff was fun.
the tests and the videos.
That's what it was.
That's
fun.
what a kid would do. Like if a kid got superpowers, what would he probably do? Go look for bullies and like do videos of me doing really cool stuff. I mean, on Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Zachary
It's
Levi really
believable.
got that too.
It was believable. The family was funny. The family scenes were fun. It was a comedy. It was a kids movie. I enjoyed this movie all the way through. It was lighthearted.
It's something you can rewatch.
It's something you could rewatch and enjoy. It was lighthearted, and I felt like I don't know who the director was, but I know that this is a movie that they're definitely going to repeat. They're doing Black Adam in the next one, I think, aren't they? And it's going to be The Rock. So that's going to be interesting to see those two go up at each other. There's excitement around this movie. It's like the DCEU has hits or misses with their movie. This was a home run. Wonder Woman was the last home run. Then they got this one. It was a big home run. People liked it. And then the cameo with Superman at the end. I mean, the moral of the story, too. I mean, because the guy that was the bad guy, he was rejected for this power, and he held that forever. And, he freaked out. They had a wreck. It ruined his life. Pretty much that set his whole life and set up his story. And they did a good job. It was well written. What do you got on it?
Like, it's good. It's lighthearted. It's family friendly, like you said. They set up the villain pretty well. The wreck, I mean, and then he spent his whole life trying to find a way to get the powers. He finally gets them, but in the wrong way. He sets the 7 deadly sins free. That's how he gets his powers. They're just kind of using him. And then at the end, they have to lure them all out. He turns all of his family into heroes.
Which was awesome, by the way. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. That was... Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was fun to watch.
I hate to say it, but I really don't have anything bad to say about this movie.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
And, like, Zachary Levi, he nailed the performance. He, had, that childlike...
He played a kid as a grown-up.
He did great.
Really did. What else can we say about this movie?
I don't think there's much more. I mean,
all right, we're in agreement. Shazam's a win. Now, let's talk about a movie that I don't know a whole lot about. Seen a few scenes of. I started watching it. But that is the dumpster fire that Aquaman is.
I like it. Parts. It's on the better spectrum for me. Mira's. But, I mean, it's on a better spectrum. But Black Manta should not have been the movie first off. They've forced his way in, and he did not fit, in my opinion. And they kind of had scenes that were like, it made sense for the most part. And I mean, there was like a MacGuffin, kind of, the trident. And they went to that one place trying to find it, and Black Manta shows up. But he didn't need to. Atlanteans could have shown up. That could have been it. And then Black Manta could have had his own movie, because he's a great villain. He deserves it. Ocean Master should have been the main villain. And then the only, problem... I mean, Black Manta's a big problem for me. And, they forced you to try and sympathize with him because his dad dies at the beginning. I didn't care. Sorry, not sorry. And then, but, Atlantis, if you watch Justice League and look at Atlantis, and then you look at Atlantis and Aquaman... It's different
Atlantis. I saw that.
It's so different. They're not even comparable. What happened? I get it's James Wan. He likes to do stuff not, change drastically, but he likes scenery like that. But they should have been alright, look, we showed it looked like this. You shouldn't change it. I mean, and I get some people are like, well, there's that area at the beginning, but if it's a mother box and they know what it is because they clearly portrayed that in Justice League, it's not going to be where, that area that people talk about. It's going to be behind the big gate and the turrets that they, stress about getting in because it's so hard. That's where it's going to be, so that's my biggest problem with that movie, and you don't know about it, so we shouldn't really spend much time on it. But
I do want to say on it though that I tried to watch it, and about 10 minutes in, I got tired of it because I knew it was going to be a CGI shit show.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it was a lot of
I
CGI.
was not wanting to sit there for 2 hours and watch a bunch of bad CGI. And like I said, Jason Momoa, he did pretty good into Justice League, but again, he had a flat character. It's like, I don't know, he was
Had a lot of
angry guy.
one-liners.
Yeah, man.
My man.
My man. Like, that has got to be the worst line in any movie ever. It's like,
I'll quote that, but like being dumb and funny, not like because I was like.
It's like, Jason, we need you to say something. My man. I mean, it was ridiculous.
But since you want to talk about dumpster fire, we got to get into the already released Suicide Squad. I mean.
Do we have to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, at least a little bit.
Alright, well, this is the first movie, I think, that could have won an Academy Award off of a trailer. We mentioned that earlier. And I mean it. I mean, the trailer, everybody loved the trailer. And for what, 2 years while this movie's being made, we talked about Jared Leto. You saw it on Facebook all the time. Jared Leto's doing this to prepare for his role. Jared Leto's doing this.
Yeah.
This is going to be a unique take on the Joker. And it was.
I mean, it was unique.
It was unique. He was a gangster, though. He wasn't like... And I get that Jack Nicholson was kind of a gangster Joker, but, like, he was a better gangster.
He's like a I shop at Spencer's exclusively kind of Joker.
But, the Jared Leto Joker...
I don't like that they gave him a grill. Let's straight up say that.
The grill, the bad tattoos...
You mean the tattoo on his forehead that said damaged? You didn't like that?
I mean, no. Like, there's a theory that everybody wants to believe in that this isn't the real Joker. That this was like Jason Todd or something. Like, people want to believe that because it was bad. And, again, it's not his fault. Maybe it is his fault. I don't know. There was a lot of scenes cut out of the movie that he had supposedly filmed. But, the movie didn't have good flow. I mean, this movie, it was cool. It was in your face. Will Smith did excellent in this movie.
Yeah, he did.
I just want to talk about Will Smith. One of my favorite scenes is when they take him out there and he shoots the guns, and he shoots very well. He does the impossible shots because he's, Deadshot. And he makes it, and then he starts giving his demands, and it was, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to your boss, and it was funny, and it's Will Smith.
I like when he doesn't think the gun's loaded, and he shoots it, and he's in there, he's like, these effers aren't joking.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was one of the funner parts of the movie.
The movie had a lot of fun parts.
Harley Quinn, are we going to talk about this? She was better than the Joker.
I liked her.
I think she was better than the Joker. She was dressed, and she complained about it. Her outfit, she didn't like it. And she was wearing a Hoochie Mama outfit if I ever seen one. And, she didn't like it. They changed it for the next movie. She was dressed more modestly in the second one. But, they used her crazy. I mean, when you meet her, she's in the ropes. She's like dangling in a cage, and she's dangerous. And she's a crazy danger person. Like, she'll smile at you while she kills you.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and she's crazy.
Yeah.
And, that's not what they really said, voice. I mean, that's hilarious. She did good. She was good in this movie. But then we have Croc. Did not look good. Did you think he looked good? I mean...
There's a comic version where he, doesn't have... there's different versions. And there's versions where he looks like that. But he's not like a man in a lot of makeup. He's, ripped and big. He's not that small, because he's I'm pretty sure he was shorter than somebody. I don't remember who it was, but he was shorter, and that just really broke the character.
Well,
he should have been bigger at least.
And I'm having a hard time remembering all their names, but the guy with the flames,
El Diablo,
that guy, he had one of the better arcs in the movie.
Yeah,
I think. He had already done something really bad that got him in that prison, and he has these powers, and he had an oath, and he only used these powers to save lives, basically. And I think he had, if you want to think about the Suicide Squad being heroes, he was the one guy in the whole squad that was, truly a hero, if you ask me. He did a good job.
He was scared to use his power.
He was scared to use his powers because he'd hurt people in the past. And he didn't want to hurt nobody else with his powers. And he had one of the better arcs. Now you look at the Harley Quinn stuff. I mean, Joker's wanting to go save her. That was his motivations in the movie, saving her. And I buy that. I do buy that. I mean, like, yeah, the Joker, it's like Matt Pat said best. No, it wasn't Matt Pat. It was the Cinema Wins guy. He goes, he let Batman capture her because he's like, oh, they're just gonna take her to Arkham and I'll break her out like usual, and then they send her to this other facility like in New Orleans or something, and now he's depressed. He's got to go put a plan together and get her, and he does, and it's great. It really is.
You know who I think had the best arc though? You might disagree with me. I think Enchantress did.
Enchantress. See, I feel like that was just a wasted villain.
Well, I don't. I liked how they did her because it's like the U.S. government wants to control the people with superpowers, so they get her heart so they can control her. She doesn't like it, so she retaliates in any way she can, and then she gets her heart back so that she can. They didn't do her right, but arc-wise, I really like how they tried to control her. She didn't like it.
So what you're saying is Amanda Waller is the bad guy in this movie?
Kind of.
Now, unfortunately, there is a giant blue beam to space in this movie. It happens in a lot of movies, but
the ring of trash.
This movie was a little bit. It was huge, with and the eyeball people just freaked me out too. By the way, I want to talk about the eyeball people. It's bad villains. I mean, you got to come up with something better than eyeball people.
I think they were just supposed to be like trash thrown together and made into a person.
I mean, it was bad. There were some funny scenes like the bar scenes. They go rescue Amanda.
Yeah.
They didn't know that they was rescuing her, but they did.
They all wanted to kill her.
They all wanted to kill her, but they all had the boom booms in their head. And, the movie was garbage. It was a bad movie. I mean, the fight scenes weren't good. There was one good fight scene maybe. I thought the whole ending was kind of boring. Not a lot at stake there because I didn't feel like there was a lot at stake.
I mean, the one guy died, but that didn't really make it feel worse.
Well, the one guy died at the beginning because, that he was the test dummy. The Indian guy, we thought he was going to be around. Yeah, Slipknot. We thought that guy was going to be around a while. No, he was done.
I figured he'd be gone kind of fast because in every trailer, he always did the same, building jump. And, that's right before his head got blown smithereens. I was like,
Look, I'm just going to give you some advice. If somebody says they've planted a bomb in your head, believe them. Just believe them. They probably did.
I mean, don't always believe them, but if there's any proof to it.
I mean, why better safe than sorry. I mean, have you seen 30 Minutes or Less? That was a real bomb on that guy.
Yeah.
He didn't rob the bank.
You seen Cars 2? That was a real bomb on Tim Mater.
Oh, man. You did not bring up Cars 2 on this podcast. We're going to be canceled. Oh, man. It's the worst movie ever. Oh, that's garbage.
I've actually got a worse movie.
Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it because, look, there's been... Suicide Squad's been done to death. Everybody's talking crap about it.
So bad.
But it's what it was. Birds of Prey was a different monster because they were trying to capitalize on Deadpool. So, yeah, I mean, just kill yourself now. Put the gun in your mouth.
That was such a bad... I walked out. Normally I have, words. That one was so bad. I just didn't. I mean, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, I think she still is a good portrayal, but they just didn't write her right.
Yeah, I like her as an actress, and I like her playing this role. It's just there's not good writing for her. And there's the date rape scene, which I was just, I didn't like that. It was kind of uneasy, and, I feel like even a drunk Harley Quinn can still be, not as helpless as she was. And she was just such a helpless person in this movie. She was Domino from that movie because every lucky thing happened to her. I mean, she was stupid. She was more of a powerhouse in the Suicide Squad than she was in this one. And in this movie, the Joker wasn't in it. He was name dropped every 5 seconds. And, everybody's scared of him, but let's face it. why are people scared of the Joker? He doesn't seem that scary from the Suicide Squad. He seems very beatable, and I mean, everybody's scared of him. Black Mask is in this movie. Don't know what the heck he's doing. Like the actor that played him. I mean, you know, he was Obi-Wan Kenobi after all.
Yeah.
But like in this movie, it's like it had no direction. You know, the Birds of Prey. It's supposed to be Batgirl, by the way, and Birds of Prey. That's a Batgirl thing. Barbara Gordon, that's her.
And Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Catwoman. That's what it's.
You know, you went with a bunch of different people, and that's okay. I get it, but at the same time,
don't call it Harley Quinn. Birds of Prey.
Harley
if the Birds of
Quinn.
Prey aren't in it.
Harley Quinn. Oh, the Huntress was in it.
They're in. I don't mean like the comic books. I mean like, don't put them in the last 15 minutes. And I mean they're all in it in their own song.
Well, I just want to point out that Harley Quinn is a horrible person in this movie, and she kind of admits to being a horrible person, but like she's really a horrible person in this movie. Like there's no redeeming qualities about her. I just think Harley Quinn's a garbage person in this movie. There's no redeeming qualities for her.
Yeah.
It's sad. And, you know, it's like...
But she helped the child.
Yeah, at the end, she sold the child out at the one time. It's just hard to root for her in this movie. And, you know, the fighting at the end was stupid. All these guys with guns show up to kill you. What do? They just like, oh, we've got bats. We got bats. We're going to use bats. We're going to get them with the bats. And it's just stupid. I don't know what else much to say about this movie other than it was dumb. And it was bad writing, and you know.
I liked one thing. I think
the plant being blowed up means
like two things.
Oh, let's hear it.
I liked that she had, even though it wasn't Bud and Lou, I liked that she had a hyena.
That magically survived the explosion because it was explosion proof.
They didn't want PETA. And then I liked the cornhole gun, like the cornhole bag gun. Shot the bag and the sparkles. That fit her.
Let's face this. You know,
I didn't like the scene with it, but I liked the gun.
She walks into a police station and just starts blasting cops left and right.
She got shot.
Let's face it, they were scared of her, but in real life, she got shot. But it's a movie. We have suspension. You know, we suspend our beliefs. But you know, it's just was a good scene. You know what? I actually did like that scene. It was funny. It was cute. You know, that was probably one of the better set pieces, I think, in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, there's not a whole lot of bad I can say about it. It's not believable, but again, you suspend that because you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
But, like, her story arc was garbage. It was really just about her getting an egg sandwich. I mean, you know, to be honest.
Yeah.
About her getting an egg sandwich. She got one at the beginning. She didn't get to eat it. She got one at the end when the movie ended.
Yeah.
And that kid... I mean, the pickpocket ate it. I mean, you know, just give her some X-Lax, let her pass it, you know.
Even like most of these movies, the ones that we've talked bad about, there's some people that defend them. I don't think I've met a single person who defends this movie.
Well, I don't know a lot of people that watched this movie. I mean, a lot of people knew it was probably going to be bad going into it. And it's not because it was an all-female cast. It was really just bad writing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not... I don't like the cast that they got. I mean... I think they should have done Batgirl.
One A-lister.
Well, it's not even the actors in it. It's like I feel like they should went with different characters. You know, do Batgirl, and do different characters, and write them better. And you know, Huntress was pretty bad written. You know, she was just Crossbow Girl for most of the movie. And, you know, it was funny. It was like a funny little throwaway joke. That's why they made it a joke about her. But you know, she really didn't have a whole lot of lines. Her backstory was kind of interesting. I mean, you know, in the comic books, right now in the continuity, she is the crime boss's family, and she doesn't have the powers, as far as I know. Now, in the older versions and the way it came out, Huntress is Selena Kyle's and Bruce Wayne's daughter, and she's a half metahuman, whatever that means, which would mean Catwoman would be maybe metahuman, maybe I don't know, but. You know, they didn't go with that style. They went with the mob boss, which is cool. I felt like, though, she was underutilized a little bit. I think she could have been a lot cooler than she was. They could have used her a lot more. And like I said, Harley Quinn was just garbage person in this movie, And a lot of the things didn't make sense. I mean, like, literally, she acted, and the thing that really makes me mad about these movies is the way they act. Like, she acts like a 23-year-old girl on drugs would act. I mean, literally, you know yourself, when the Suicide Squad came out, every drug head that's on your Facebook profile basically had Joker and Harley Quinn relationship status stuff posted constantly.
Yeah.
And it's like they're the role model for a relationship, and they're like the most toxic relationship of all time.
Like they cut a scene, like they filmed it, but they cut a scene of him like actually like backhanding her.
I mean, it's just a bad. But all the drug addicts that you went to high school with, they loved it. They put it all over their Facebook feeds for years. Like, it was literally on there for years.
Goals.
And yeah, goals. That's the worst part. But that's the kind of people I think like these movies. Is like, people that think they're as cool as Harley Quinn, that act like her. I mean, she was a bad person, and I don't think she got redeemed. She was funny, but bad people can be funny. I don't know.
She never had any redeem, and they set it up for her to have it, and it never
Wasn't
happened.
really. Yeah, they didn't set it up well either. But that's what I think. What do you think? Any last thoughts on this?
I mean, Black Mask. I think Joker should have been in it at least.
Some. I just want to get
even just a pop.
How does blowing up a chemical plant signify that they're over? And I mean, it's just that was kind of silly.
Because they need to carry the plot.
It was silly, and people like I kid you not, like one of the reasons it listed for somebody wanting to kill her was she voted for Bernie. I mean, that's just kind of funny. I mean, it was funny. Probably did need to be in there. But I think when I look at Birds of Prey, it was just as bad as Suicide Squad.
Well,
And what this movie was is they looked at Suicide Squad and they said, everybody really liked Harley Quinn. Well, let's put her in another movie. And that's what they did, and they didn't even do a good job with it. Like, Harley Quinn is possibly one of the best characters that Batman gets to go up against. And we have yet to see her portrayed with good writing.
Yeah.
We've got the actor that can play the part very well if they get some good direction, I think. I mean, I don't know. You guys, what do y'all think? Leave it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you like us.
You know what I think? Talk about A movies.
Oh, by the way, Superman's CGI beard, we didn't cover it, but it was gross. I felt like we didn't need to cover it being a bad part of the movie, but
just in
let's
case.
face it, because we're going to see it in the comments.
Well, alright, we talk about A movies, okay? 5 of them we said were bad. Like, in agreement. Aquaman, I gave an up. So, 5 or 6. So we have the Batman games. They have a great story.
The games?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're great.
The animated movies, like, that they still come out with, they're pretty good for the most part. They just came off the Dark Knight movies. Great movies. The CW shows, they're somehow better.
Well, I mean,
We got the DC
everybody
Network.
likes The Flash and Supergirl.
Yeah.
They've done those well.
They have the new Stargirl. I mean, I've only heard good things about it. I haven't watched it. But then there's the DC, like, shows, like, on the, like, streaming thing they have. Most of those get good reviews. So if they've got all this good writing everywhere else, what's going wrong in the movies?
They're trying, if you want to be serious about it, they're trying to compete with Marvel. That's not what they need to be doing. Look, Marvel's there first. They set up the universe first. They took their time. You guys just need to do the same and be patient. And if that means y'all are 5 years behind them with what they're doing, that's okay. The reason they wanted to push out Batman vs. Superman is because that same year they had Civil War.
Yeah.
And it's like, Civil War wasn't a perfect movie, but it was still warranted because we've seen these characters kind of nagging at each other with these things for years now. Like when Civil War happened, Tony Stark and Iron Man had been friends.
Tony Stark and Iron Man had been friends.
They had been friends. They were friends. He's the same person. Captain America and Tony Stark had been friends and they'd been at each other's throats, and
Good friends.
they worked on it. they worked on their relationship. They had a relationship, but you could see the scenes where it was it was very thin, especially with Ultron. Ultron pissed them all off.
And in the first Avengers, like even like in the one part, they're
I
like, "You
think-
want to throw rounds right now?"
I think they made up after that though. But
Well, yeah, but like
there's
a
always
little bit of tension.
But like it was deserved when we got to see them fight. Batman versus Superman, they just met and they're fighting.
And like
if they had done Batman, I'm not saying they shouldn't have done that movie.
they shouldn't
I'm
have
just saying
built for
do it
expansion. Like, because they're already trying to, like, the Nightmare sequence where they tease Darkseid. They didn't tease any expansion until the first Avengers. And then Thanos showed up once every 3 to 5 movies, if that.
He just showed up in
And
two
he got
Avengers
less
movies
and
until
less
the Gardens.
purple.
Well, I'm not even worried about the purple. It's just like, he rarely showed up. And then Darkseid, they've teased him in 2 movies already and already had one of his big figureheads in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever movie. And, like, nobody even cares at this point because, everything that has been with him has been bad. I think that's fair to say. They haven't done anything good, like, for him, so why are we going to be excited about him? Why would we be excited about, like, the big boss when they can't even do the smaller ones good enough to get us excited for the big one?
Well, and it's also what's he gonna be like? I mean, let's face it. This is a character that in the comic books is basically. I mean, he's it. He's always there. He's like the personification of evil. Like, I mean, when you look at his comic book lore, he is really evil.
Yeah.
He is like the reason we have evil. I mean, so he's very powerful. Superman is sometimes on par with him when he wants Superman to be on par with him because this guy, when you look at what he can do in the comic books, is scarier than anything. And how are they going to relate that? Because the biggest thing we've seen in the DCEU is, stakes. Man of Steel had stakes. Batman versus Superman felt like it had stakes a little bit. I mean, but Justice League, just Batman, and the rest of the team couldn't handle Steppenwolf. Superman comes in, yawns, and beats his ass.
Yeah.
So it felt like there were no stakes in this, and that's a problem.
I think if they're going to, like, get us scared about him, he needs to show up before, like, his big movie, and he needs to just beat the crap out of Superman.
Well, I think Toon Sandwich had a skit where, I don't know if you guys know that, but it's a YouTube channel. They have Villains Pub, and, when Avengers Infinity War came out, they made a joke video about it's finally my time because they built him up for so long. We were excited about this guy. We were really excited about this. And Darkseid is like somebody that should be equally as excited about. And they've just been hit or miss with like the things they're doing. I think you have, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be any good, like as villain. Like you've got to do him well. They did not do good with Steppenwolf. Doomsday was just a dead General Zod.
He existed.
Lex Luthor was. They have a villain problem. I mean, they don't have good villains. The only good villains that they do have, they kind of try to use them in Suicide Squads to make them look like good guys. I mean, Harley Quinn's a good villain. I mean, for the most part, and I mean, Will Smith was a great villain. Will Smith carried the movie like a champ, and
recently he's carried every movie he's been in. Like his shoulders must be hurting by now. Suicide Squad, Aladdin, Gemini Man. He's carrying all.
I haven't seen Gemini Man yet. But
I haven't seen it either, but
it looks
just watching
good.
the trailer, you know who's carrying it because he's not one, but he's 2 characters.
Yeah,
that's how big he is. He's that good.
If you're gonna play yourself, playing yourself, you're gonna have to be good. But guys, I think that's all the time we have for today.
It's only 2 hours. That's all we got.
Yeah, but please like and subscribe and hit the notifications. Leave comments. Tell us things you want us to talk about. Tell us what we missed. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us we're wrong. And
tell us how good that CGI mustache looked.
Yeah, tell us about what is your opinion on the CGI mustache. We would like to know. Was it noticeable, barely noticeable, or just like, hey, get a Dragon Ball and wish that shit away? But that's all for Everyday Nerds. Have a good one.